system, how long have Rasta has been saying, don't use them toothpaste. Use chewstick. Use coal. And brush your teeth. How long has Rasta has been saying that? Now we find out that fluoride is a deadly poison and is affecting your neurons. So now we can't even think straight using fluoride and chloride and all of these chemicals. How long has Rasta been saying, don't use them roll-on? And people say Rasta crazy. What we must use? And Rasta said, go natural. Find a natural way. Now, can we live with them and do away with their smart 10-life visions? Our children are being reared, Rastafarian children, Muslim children. Are we rearing our children or are they rearing our children? Who has greater control over our children? Them or us? Because while we are here discussing freedom, liberation, and reparation, where are our children? Who is teaching them? Either the 10-life vision or some teacher who don't think like us. So when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we want freedom. We want full and complete freedom. We want justice, applying equally to all. Then he says we want separate state or territory. He is saying that we can't have any of this living among them. Because if we live among them and school our children in their schools, guess what's going to happen? They are going to incorporate their books in their school system with our children, and before you know it, our children are not the same. So we are sport our dreadlocks, we are wearing white shirt and bow tie, but our children risk broken because somebody infiltrated the mind of our child while we were there and get them to be other than themselves. So what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying, reparations, and this is not for Muslims, this is for black people all over. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did a lecture where he told the sports personalities that look, and the artists, the artistic community, you need to get away from the control of particularly the Jews. You need to get away, and Minister Farrakhan has been labeled anti-Semite falsely because of these things. But guess what? What's his name? Malkovich, the person who controls the music here. Magdanovich. Joe, what is his name? Joe Bogdanovich. Is Joe Bogdanovich white or black? Talk to me, family. You are looking at me as if I'm not the same like as you. He's not black. Right? And does he control the music industry here? Mainly. Who controls when Reggae Sumfest is put on? Is Sizzla put it on? Is Cape Town put it on? Is Buju Bantanan or any other members of the community, our community, the Rastafari, are they the ones who organize and put these things on? Or is it Bogdanovich? Huh? So I'm saying we need to unite as a people. And in our unity, that's the only way that we will have strength. So we have these little conferences. And these little conferences should be our base, where we organize ourselves. We should just meet here on occasions and have conversations, and then we walk away from these conversations, and then we go back to business as usual, and then they continue to control every aspect of our lives except our uniforms. So what the Nation of Islam is saying, we are not looking necessarily for uniformity. We are looking for unity. Because at the end of the day, we won't all look the same way. We won't all talk the same way. We won't wear our hair the same way. We won't dress the same way. But one thing is for sure. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. Every time you see a black man, you are looking at God. Because at our root, at our core, as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, the black man is the original man. And he didn't say the black Muslim is the original man. The black Christian is the original man. The black Rastafarian is the original man. He said the black man is the original man. We are the first human being under the light of the sun. And they gave us religion not to unite us, but to divide us. And here we are as fractions, fractionalized, fictionalized, and we can't even get along. Even in our own faith that we practice, we can't get along. Talk to me, Rastafari. How many houses does Rastafari have? And are all the houses together? What if we could bring all the houses of Rastafari together? What if we could bring the houses of Rastafari together and bring the nation of Islam together with all the different houses of Rastafari? What if we could bring the Marcus Garvey movement together with the different houses and the nation of Islam? Don't you believe we could organize and demand land from the government? Don't you believe that we could organize? And now they are saying we want Jamaica to become a republic. How long has Trinidad been a republic? Since about 1976. Am I right or wrong? Is Trinidad any different from us? What does republic mean? It means give back to the public. Really, the public again should own what is on the island. And I conclude with this. If they even have referendum and the people vote for republic, who are going to be our leaders in the republic? Is it Rastafari? Is it Muslim? Or is it the same old people with the colonial mindset that we have now? That will be still governing our affairs. So if we want freedom, justice, and equality, we must come together in unity to make this a reality. Jobless, one love, free the people. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Minister Mohammed, yes. So we have a perspective there from the Nation of Islam. Minister Clive, I see you have the newspaper.
How we can get copies?
Get that because you talked about the second to last back page, but if we don't have access to that newspaper, we can't read it.
Yeah, where you have a copy there? Do.
So, do you have copies of that?
I think this copy. But
Yeah,
Brother Fitzroy is supposed to be taking a box of papers with him so that we could just give a paper to everybody.
Alright.
That was the plan, so I don't know if he's delayed to what level he's delayed now.
We have to find out, Minister Clive. Yes. Dermot. I'm going to have to give you the mic. I can't hear you.
I want to say this before I try communicating to us itself. Now, my brethren, I want to reflect to the Muslim brethren.
No. Clive Muhammad. Clive
His name?
Muhammad.
Yes. I say Abu Malik. My brethren, I say Abu. In Arabic, I think this is referring to my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to say a few things unto you quite quickly before I leave, because we are getting ready to ask the Sabbath. Now, I want to address it in two ways. First of all, and it's not to disrespect, there's no disrespect here, because I personally have nice regard from the initiation of the Nation of Islam. I've spent 13 years here, and I love that honor. Why I say so is, it is the only entity in America that actually provokes the mind of the white mindset, because it is clean and it is a unifying power, the Nation of Islam. And while I was there, and even leaving there from 93 until now, I still see the power of the Nation of Islam in America, apart from the rest. It is now represented by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I've said, that man is fearless. That man will give his life. That man will give everything for black people. But one of the things I find striking is that in 1930, as it was started in Islam, that Master Fahad Muhammad appeared. And the doctrine over there is that he was the personification and manifestation of God. Good. Now, what I find unique is that in the same year, 1930, His Majesty was crowned, 2nd of November 1930, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, and the power of the Holy Trinity. So far, I know, one of his priests, we kind of cement that to be the foundation of our faith, and we use that history to reflect Christ in his kingly character. As such, when we study the scripture, we found out also that I and I in diaspora as slave descendants only fulfilled Deuteronomy 20, where the Almighty said unto Moses, speak unto the children of Israel, which we are supposed to be the Israelites scattered in diaspora. He said unto them that if you will keep my commandments, and if you will listen to my voice, he said, blessed art thou. You know what he said also? He said, thou shalt be the head and not the tail. Thou shalt lend to many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And he went further down to the later verses 65, 66. He says, but because you have not listened to my voice, and you have not obeyed my commandment, he said, I shall send you again to Egypt by the way of ships. Referring to the transatlantic statement. You know what he said also? When morning comes, you would wish it was night. When night comes, you wish it was morning because of the bondage that you will bear, which is a reflection of our slavery. So it's we don't know as Rasta. We now feel, we are fully aware of what happened. We are fully aware where we are currently, and we also have an advanced knowledge of what is around the corner in the new world order. So it's a reparation. Rasta don't beg, we demand reparation. Repatriation now would contradict even what you said earlier on about getting land. No. We don't want to land down there. We want to go back to our yard.
Can I just say one thing? Just one thing, and I'm
Go back
not
to
going
the yard.
to be long. Let me just say this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the earth belongs to the original man. The earth. Where Europeans are, we put them in the worst part of the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and keep the best part preserved for ourselves. That's right. So even when they brought us over here, and we been over here, guess what? We go over here too. So we not, all of us, don't necessarily have to go back to Africa. Yeah, but wherever the black man is, he owns. So we can't let them run back on this, just like them cat. Then we try to take away the people.
Don't like me, man. We are Rasta, man. We are just telling you, we want to go back to the
Mr. Minister, Representative.
We have organized.
Yes. I listened your delivery and I deem it wonderful. However, I wish you could express or expose more on reparation. I see where you're coming from in speaking about reparation and the points that have been there. But I think that this is a very signal venue here and time. And this global conference, we should really reflect more in depth on the basics of reparation. And I'll just make 2 pointers here. You know, and I've been long outstanding proponents of reparation, both here in the diaspora and in Africa. I can remember when Moshood Abiola of Nigeria had looked through the whole spectacle and the degradation of the continent. And so he had invested his resources by pulling together some of the learned mind on the subject. And they were commissioned to carry out an investigation. That was as early as 97, 96, 97, somewhere along those lines. But what is very important is that, and I must remember, that outside of the diaspora, which has become the 6 regions of the, which give us quite a right to advance. And I must remember that outside of Africa, there is no one in the Caribbean, in Europe, or in Asia, North America, that when they deem that claimant state of reparation, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to get inside the minds of the AU leaders and deliberate the subject in much detail. Africa is the only claimant state of reparation. Let this be known. No one can claim reparation outside of Africa because we are the children that went out. You know? So I think it is very imperative for I and I to really petition the AU, of which the leaders of Africa has been united. We have to lay square on their table. Yes. I'm coming back to back, just wrapping up. And you know, the striking thing about this is that when we talk about reparation, we are visioning finances. But let me say this as one of the activists as early as 97, working with the Scotiabank. We have carried out a lot of demonstration in this country, etc., etc. And there was one particular place we were lobbying and that was at the beginning. And we demonstrated very rigorously there. They came out to ask what is it we want and what kind of volume of finances we are asking about and things like that. Well, you know, we quote some really unrealistic figure because we know that reparation though doesn't lie within, you know, numerical figure. It's sort of past that. You know, because one more is born, the more the figure will be like to do the changes. One more die, So that it's not a matter of physical finance, but it's a matter of goods and service to our continent.
Yes, sir.
Give thanks.
Yes, sir. Give thanks. So the discussion we just had reveals a kind of different perspective, and I'm seeing that very clearly now. So Rastafari endorsed repatriation to the continent, Africa as the real motherland.
Yes.
But where the Nation of Islam are coming from, 40 acres and a mule kind of precept. I don't know if you heard about that, but in the US, the African Americans or the Africans domiciled in the US said it was in repair or as compensation for the free labor that they and their ancestors have given to America. They want 40 acres and a mule, right? And that was promised to them at one time, but that promise was never fulfilled. So one of the questions then philosophically is one content to get land and maybe some other kind of compensation where you're presently domiciled, or as Rastafari would say, should you be transported to the continent, of course, at the cost of the former colonizer, and then be given those compensation once you're in the continent. So there's different perspectives that are out there. Yeah. We have to make it very quick because we have a president already.
Yes, beloved, give thanks for the presentation. But I think this is a
I see I never get to get no speech,
crucial point to be made. In 2007, there was the privilege for, I think, was the 107 Pan-African conference that was held in Jamaica. I think even at the university here. But your proposal is for the black race, the survival of the black race. Either race assimilation into other, other nations, race segregation, which I believe is what the nation of Islam is trying to do in America, or race preservation, which is the return of black people back to the original fundamental land, like what Marcus Garvey was saying, to build and develop the empire from there. So there are three perspectives in front of the black race right now for the survival of the black race. I think those three supposed to be investigated properly.
Interesting. I don't see how racial assimilation though is a precept for survival of the black.
That is the point.
Well, right. So yeah, well, I was tend to straight out this and remember the other two. Yeah. All right, fair enough. See, okay then. All right, thanks for the clarification. So we're gonna move right into next presentation by Brother Devon Taylor. Dr. Devon Taylor, let me say, of the Jamaican movement, doing a lot of great works in providing public access, beach access. They fought on the behalf of the Bob Marley Beach recently and so forth. So, Dr. Devon Taylor, it's a pleasure. So please go ahead with your presentation. We give thanks.
Greetings. Can they hear I? Yes. Blessed love, and greetings in the name of His Most High, in pure majesty, Empress Benin. Yeah, wonderful reasoning going on here, and most fitting that we are talking about reparations, and a critical part of reparation in this time has to be around internal reparation. And it is important, just validating that the eyes are seeing the slides. So Rastafari within the Jamaican space have always been close to the earth, but always embracing fullness of nature, and pushing back at the colonized mind and colonized land. And so, we have got involved within, a movement that was required because of an observation and an experience that, Africans, in the diaspora are experiencing. And that is around access to, land, access to beaches, in the context of a neo-colonialist order. So what we'll try to do here in a condensed time frame is just to really look at beach access rights and Rastafari heritage, and that there is a need for the decolonization of Jamaica beaches and rivers, which is important in the way of life. So, this group of ones is no stranger that the business of equality, justice, and liberation is an unfinished business. And it is our burden to bear, it's our cross to carry into the future, where we should liberate these species so the next generation can move the conversation and the liberty to our next level. So within the Jamaican sphere, there's an obvious and organized disappearance of beaches at an alarming rate in Jamaica. And Jamaicans are really blacked out, under the disguise of development. And this is nothing new. This is what, we have been dealing with from the beginning of time. And it is becoming a very contentious issue in the land. It is, creating, fundamental environmental damage, but it's also damaging the soul because one is not free to express self. And most of this is driven by private interest, but there's complicity from the governments over the many years, because they have privatized the entire coastline, and they're also giving exclusive license for beaches, which then exclude Jamaica. So we need to push back at this because, the land should be free, and one should be free to culturally, practice, whatever spirituality in the sphere that wants really do. So fundamental to the problem is the colonial era legislation, known as the Beach Control Act of 1956. And we will dive into that a little bit more. But just to, kind of center the conversation around, what we are looking at here. A Jamaican coastline that's about 494 miles around the island, with about 150 of that is classical sand. But the Jamaican public only have 2.8 miles of access. And when you look at the demographics in Jamaica, you can clearly see that the population is mostly descendants of enslaved Africans. It's around 92%. So if you take a really graphical look at this, it blows your mind when you look and see that this black line that we're looking at right here is the line that represents how much access the Jamaican people have. So the whole coastline is 493 miles. This is what Jamaicans have access to. That's just showing you in a pie chart. And if you look at it in this context here, where we have 493 bars here, we only have access just to that. So it is just inequity. It's unjust, and this is fueled by colonial law. This is just breaking down more of what I just said, that the elephant in the room is the hotel industry, because they are expanding at over 1,000%. They are displacing everything in the name of development. Fishing beaches are being decreased. There's no expansion in recreation, so therefore there's no spiritual spaces, for I and I to go and meditate, for I and I to go and harvest my nutraceuticals. So we're having a big issue in Jamaica, and we need to push back. But is the colonialism that drives this? And we can trace, Jamaica Island right back to the Taínos and how Columbus was coming in space and really, is lots of, welcoming from the natives in this space, and in turn around and really commit genocides against the first people within the Jamaican spaces. And I acknowledge that, there are indigenous tying of bloods that run through the veins of I across the island, because we don't know rebellious people rebel onto the mountains, and then just interracial marriages taking place over the time. But the English comes in after the Spaniard and just kind of expand the brutality of chattel slavery in Jamaica. And in doing so, our people face the brunt of that enslavement, the brunt of, the discrimination and the violation of the human body and soul. And the land also faced it too. So, there's an issue in Jamaica where the land ownership is concerned. And, our ancestors rebelled in that time. And there's been many, rebellions in Jamaica pushing back, towards emancipation and the need to own land and determine our own destiny. And funny enough, we're still in this moment. This is showing you, the slide of the land, the famousness within that space and how it represents one of Jamaica's first free village. So we're still fighting some of these same battles, and we see these land dispossessions still happening. We do see the oppression still happening in Jamaica, despite, Google's and his revolution within Maya-based space, and how, the force of colonial England come down upon I within that space, but we still keep fighting on. We're fighting on for justice, and we're fighting on for freedom. And so we need to look at these things as internal reparation issue, because they were premeditated. Since 1836, that Secretary of State basically issued this edict that no one, or descendants of enslaved Africa should own any land, and then created the laws, in the country to make sure that did not become a reality. So the descendants of enslaved Africans have always been the victims of colonial era actions. Then come in 56, they leave all this legislation that says we have no general rights of access to our beaches. We have no right to be, no right to walk, on the seashore, right? This is what is happening in 2023 right now. That this is a legislation still sits at home that says you have no general right. It is discriminatory, right? No person shall be deemed to have any right in and over the foreshore of the island. Believe it or not, this is the law in the land of Jamaica, and survived here for 67 years and no move. So Jamaica had to rise up, because the power that is enshrined within this piece of legislation do not give fisher folks any right, or Jamaicans no right. But if you're wealthy and you own beachfront property, you have some entitlement. And all the power that regulates this is controlled by one minister. And this Beach Control Act really sits in the office of the Prime Minister right now, to whom NEPA, the National Environmental Planning Agency responsible for environmental matter, sits in. So again, it's a colonial centralized control of the laws, which are colonial and control of the land. And this is a graphic that kind of breaks down what our rights look like in Jamaica. We, as the current Jamaicans, don't have any land rights to traverse land and get to sea. We take it like, beaches that we're going on to right now, we have any rights. No, it's a permission that we've been given, because constitutionalists that recognize that this is a fundamental right of Jamaica. Fisher folks do not have that right. They have some conditionality if they were fishing before 1956. But the beachfront property owner in Zooks Cross, the 14 and Harvey oneself, so is the tourists who come to visit. So what we are envisioning in Jamaica is an internal reparation that will free up the space for all Jamaicans to have the right to traverse the space. So, just of course within the interest of time, just want to run through a couple of things which what does the exclusion do to the soul, do to the body, do to the mind, and do to the environment. We lose the benefits of nature when we don't have access to these spaces, right? Our ecological heritage, which is our riverbanks and our seashores, we lose access to those. You have over-commercialization, which is an over-exploitation within these kind of biodiversity space, and we suffer from environmental degradation. We see more so that this is more of a neo-colonialist manifestation, and it is economic disempowerment. because monopolistically tourism industry control all these spaces and the environment continue to degrade. So, right now, Japan rise up as an equal rights and justice movement, right, to push back against these discriminatory laws and saying that we want those to change, we want the policies to change, right? We want to block this discrimination against Jamaican people, and so we want to introduce some new framework, known as rights of nature. We'll go into that a little bit, but what we're seeking is a general rights, general and fettered rights, in perpetuity to access this space. So we basically have two missions right here. We want to build this movement and we open the larger Rastafari community will embrace this movement, because what it is about, it is to bring about modern legislation, modern laws that give us guarantee to our environment, namely on our beaches and our rivers. We want it to be unfettered and universal. We want this to represent part of what our enslaved ancestors worked towards, right? And we want to advocate for the physical environment that we serve. We want the beach and river ecosystem to have what we term now personhood status. They have the rights to exist. That means the rights to regenerate their cycles. The rights to flourish and then to service humanity. So that's what we're pushing towards. We are against this colonial era symbolism, and we're going through this constitutional conversation right now to remove the king. But it's more than removing the king. It is to remove the colonial laws that sits within our system, because our country is going through a lot of exploitation. The country is for sale. Every landmass across the nation is just built on a tourism product that I and I don't have access to. But I and I ancestors them fight all of this thing, and so to cross the island, we see them carving up the whole of the shoreline and selling it off. Right? So there's one legislation within Jamaica that allows to push back, and believe it or not, it's also a colonial legislation from 1882 that speaks about the prescriptive rights that basically define that if I is using that space for 20 years or more, then I reserve the right to continue to use that space. And so we declare that as a right in Jamaica, and we're using that in the courts. So what Japan has been able to do is to push a couple of these cases in the court right now. So we have a case in Mammoth Bay, we have a case out there in Bank Savings Acc, Sugarloaf Mountain, and we have one in Little Duns River. And two of these spaces is known that Rastafari established these spaces. We'll speak a little bit more about that. But also in the Bank Savings space, Bungo Gabby's ancient Bungo Gabby residence, which was also used in Rastafari spirituality, was target for displacement, we have to give respect to Marcus Clark for stepping up as an attorney and helping out in the Supreme Court right now to defend Rastafari rights and heritage, trying to defend Bungo Gabby's legacy, to push for adverse position. And Bungo Gabby's son, Norman Stevenson, is standing firm in the fight. So tourism product of Jamaica is built all around sea and sun, all right, and it's built around I legacy. Yet still, we do not have access and we do not benefit from everything there. Where tourism is an industry where there's a lot of leakages in terms of what money comes into the system, goes out the system. So it's only 5 cents of every dollar that stays into Jamaica. So the exploitation of the environment and the exclusion of the people is not benefiting I. So we need to really stop that, which we can jump past that slide. But the model that we practice in Jamaica is an apartheid model. I mean, it is reminiscent of what we see in South Africa. Yeah? So, as the Nobel laureate says, for having a united perspective, win a Nobel Prize for that. What his words were, and this is based in Nepal. Every poor country accepts tourism as an unavoidable degradation. None has gone so far as the West Indian Islands, which in the name of tourism are selling themselves into a new slavery. Because these beaches that we see in South Africa is basically the signs are not up like that in Jamaica, but this is what exists in the land. We do not have access, and we have to push for a decolonized beaches because we know the consequence of colonialism. This is the Myrtle Man culture down in Kingston. In the 50s, we can see nice coconut tree, beautiful pool, and the whole sea look nice. This is it right now. It's Arbor Street, a parking lot. It's an over-exploitation that always destroy the environment, and we cannot let that continue. We see mangroves being destroyed. We'll jump over the slide in the interest of time. But when you look at Negril from a bird's eye view, you can see Negril is all concrete. Most of the vegetation and the coast is gone. When you look in Montego Bay, it's now a concrete jungle. The beach is being destroyed. You look in Portuguese, it's the same thing. So over-exploitation is damaging the earth, and we will live with all of that. Our next generation won't see a pristine world. So we have to push back at that. The degradation is pronounced across the island. Hotel comes in, dig down entire, shoreline just to create, just sunbathing spots. This is what's happening to our spaces, and we are losing access to them. So the thing is firmly an internal reparation issue. They're destroying environment, displacing people, and damaging ecosystems. So even the animals is feeling this pain. So there's a need to push back at it. This is Mommy Bay. This lush green that you see here right now is being destroyed to build another hotel. And you can look around it, you see all these hotels being built. An album that was made by Keith Richards and Rolling Stone was created from Rastaman within that Mommy Bay beach space. This is community life that used to exist there every year. Annual celebration, folks using the space that is all gone. This is Blue Lagoon that is being taken over by special interests. What Blue Lagoon looked at before, lush green, removing vegetation within the space to create what? A degraded environment. So we're pushing for Blue Lagoon to become a national park. You can see all the rich building their house down in the Blue Lagoon. They have now displaced all the rafters down there. So the local guys who now used to benefit from the environment lose out. At the expense again of a neo-colonialist order. This is Bluefield Beach down here in Westmoreland. No trespassing sign. Youths approaching these blocked off area cannot go into certain spaces that they're, for parents, far. We have to push back at these things. This is Little Duns River, a space that was classically known also as Lion's Den along the North Coast corridor. This beach has been shut down. And we have this beach in the courts right now. Dr. Goff is actually, prosecuting the Urban Development Corporation because they lack the public out of the space. And so we have to push back. This is demonstration within the space. We're having a collaboration with Minister Paternal, who is really kind of, stepping forward, but the gate is locked. We cannot use these spaces anymore. This is our beloved Bob Marley Beach. Never so far removed the sign from there, right? But this is, rich black sun, rich environment, but even more so because it was one of the first island settlement, an historical space, right? This is where they went after because a new highway, Babylon conduit up across the island, and everything with them still look shiny. Regardless of history and heritage, they're rushing to take it over. So I and I have to push back. So this is one of the cases for having the courts right now to protect the public's right of access within the space. So Rasta have to rise up in order for us to defend these spaces, right? Because it's about land and it's about access to our ecological heritage. We know Rastamaka was instrumental in protecting Rastafari heritage because if it wasn't for Rastamaka, Sister Carmen and the family would have lost Bob Marley Beach. But because they have been here for over 50 years, through generation, we were able to link that and link Rastafari and get the advocacy and push back. So seal up a thing within the Bob Marley Beach space, and out of that will become something beautiful as we seek to recreate that original tabernacle within the space that Rasmaka is firmly, making sure that Rastafari have a presence and have a space within that. So we have to give thanks to the Lion. Bongo Gabi, another ancient, his house is targeted at Bob Marley Beach. Right now, we say this is in the Supreme Court. His son Norman Stevens is standing up, fighting Dr. Goff again. is the one protecting this space. So the fight continues, we have to rise up to protect these things because there's heritage built in this space. You know what I mean? So maybe I should show this video just a little bit. Actually, let's jump by it in the interest of time. But it just captures, what was happening within that Bob Marley space. So, internal reparation and rights of nature. Rights of nature meaning that nature have its own personal status, are aligned with Rastafari ideology, are aligned with Rastafari way of life. That we cherish environment and we cherish freedom. And so we need to have a reawakening within the struggle to know that within the context of Jamaica and the larger Caribbean island, because some of this issue cropping up in St. Lucia, right? That we need to fight for what our ancestors really delivered to us, which is freedom. And there's an unfinished business to move this to the next level. The country on the left here is on the trip. This is Kiel River, privatized right now, you know what I mean? And this is Larkin Water Beach in center. No one can go, and this is shut down by the Urban Development Corporation. So there's a lot of work to be done. I won't go much into the rights of nature except to show that this is Rasta worldview, that nature first, then people come and economy. Without nature, there is no people and there's no economy. The unsustainable model what Babylon come with is a model where they think that people control things and then people and the economy control nature. Nature is number one. It was first in the beginning. Then come and I create things, which is economy. So rights of nature is giving nature its rights and say, nature, you have a right to live, you have a right to flourish, and you have a right to regenerate the cycle. And so it's easy to embrace as we push the environmental justice agenda forward. So we are asking, that the community rally around reformation of land laws that will provide beach and river of easement to I, to declare within the constitutional framework a general and federal rights of access to beach and river ecosystem to be constitutionally protected, for I. And any politician and anyone, right, who deny this, okay, is really upholding, injustices against our people. They are malicious against our people, and that should not be allowed to stand. So the Beach Control Act, upon which, many of these discriminatory behaviors are based, And the politicians that uphold them, are purveyors of injustice and malice against the Jamaican people. And beach access is a human right, and beach access represents internal reparation. So, we are within the context of this, modern world, that we are using all these platforms to advocate, and we are reaching within our own family right now. As a family, we need to rally around this, and we need to push for this internal reparation. I will leave it there. Give thanks.
Yes, Dr. Taylor, very invigorating presentation. I love the passion, and I love the, drive. We're supposed to have Sister Cathy Hall coming on. I'm wondering if she is there. Are you there, Sister Cathy? No, we have to look at the participant list. Go to participants. Who else? Right. But
My mic.
oh, I can hear. Yes, Sister Cathy. Welcome. Could you put on your camera as well, please? So we can see you.
Let's see.
Just try and activate your camera. So this is Sister Cathy Hall we have online, who is one of Leonard Hall's children. She is probably his youngest child, but I would say the most very active one right now on the ground. Sister Cathy, yes, we're seeing you now. Yeah. Give thanks. So you're welcome to the Rastafari Global Reasoning Conference 2023 here at UIT. So, yeah, man, the floor is yours. The floor is yours, Sister Cathy.
I just really want to say greetings to everyone in the name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia and Empress Renee. And I guess this Zoom meeting was really one that I was anticipating since 2 o'clock. But at the end of the day, I guess, it's what it is. And what I'd like to talk about pretty much is clinical. And
Sister Cathy, we're not seeing you, and I'm not hearing you. I don't know if you're still there. Yeah, that's why I personally prefer live conferences face to face. Because once your Wi-Fi not together, this is what happens. Sister Cathy, are you still there? Look at it. Yeah, lost contact. You just check the participant list. Sister Cathy, can you hear me? I don't see her. Do they have access? Yes. All right, Sister Queen of Sheba, are you there? It's online tickets. My property.
Sister Unknown. Sis, you're unknown, you're unlikely. Yeah, I'm doing it. It's my turn, right? Likely. Greetings, Rastafari family.
Greetings tonight.
Yes, I bless the Lord. In the name of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I and His chosen Queen, Empress Revera Mene. I give thanks to be here. I've been waiting for quite a while too. So I will make my presentation. Is everyone hearing me? Yes, I give thanks. The topic is survival plans, food security. And as I have been listening to the reasoning, all of us are aware that agriculture is our first culture. We can do nothing without agriculture. So we say let food be our medicine, our medicine should be our food. I want to speak directly to what we can do, because I have been listening for a while, and as Rastafari people, we say unity. I have come to the conclusion and the belief that unity is a working relationship. We can no longer sit and say unity. We have to have working relationship, whether it's in business, education, and most importantly, agriculture. We have now come out of the COVID-19 era, which I hope has been a sharp awakening to most of our life. Because we have been for so many years, throwing fire and burning so much things in the Babylon. But then when these things come down to the point where they affect us, our family, our livelihood, our very existence as it relates to food, then it is time for us to act more seriously. I will speak directly to what we are doing in the hope that what I am sharing can be an example as one of the ways forward in terms of our resolution and our aims and objectives. We in Barbados, the Cherubim Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, which is also a branch of the Caribbean Rastafari organization, have been speaking and have recognized agriculture as one of our main committees from the beginning of time, 25 years now coming on until now. We have seen some success in that area whereby we have agricultural setup by the Rastafari family in Antigua, where they have their farm incorporated with their food, incorporated with their liability house, their liability culture. They're doing business, they're involving and reaching out to other members of the community, and not all Rastafari, but people, brethren and sisters, African people like ourselves. What we have been doing in Barbados, we have set up a cooperative. Our cooperative has been called and is named Pinnacle Agricultural Cooperative Society Limited. We took a vote when we were deciding on the name. And to my sister there, Sister Catherine Howell, going forward in terms of the work we are doing. On Pinnacle Farm, currently we're into 3 years now, and it's an organic farm. I just listened to the last presentation. It's a farm that is on the beach coast, extremely beautiful space. I would like to thank our Honorable Prime Minister, Mayor Anwar Mortley, for giving us this opportunity to lease this 20 acres of land. It is actually a plantation of 225 acres of land or so, but it was given to Rastafari groups and organizations. At this point, so far, about 4 groups have come forward, so a lot of the land is still open, and we're trying to keep meetings with the community and encourage the other groups, to let us make sure we deal with our food security in terms of managing this plantation. Some of our challenges have been getting workers, getting other brethren and sisters to see the importance of agriculture and becoming a part of it. Our main challenges have been related to equipment, funding, money. We have been using our own money to generate income, to do self-help. It is in the countryside, so transportation sometimes is an issue. in order that individuals can get on the land to do work on a daily basis. But in terms of Pinnacle itself, we're currently looking at mostly tree planting. We started to plant when we have at least 200 or so fruit trees already. We're doing some beekeeping, vegetable farming, herbs. We're looking to include some form of animal husbandry so we can get the manure as it is an organic farm. And we're doing all of this organically because we are the protectors of the environment. We need to be planting, we need to remain a part of nature, we need to be at one with nature. So we need to plant our food organically, that our food is healthy, that we can sustain ourselves and be able to share clean, healthy food. What we have been doing to make sure that as we go along, we have our strength. We've been doing some courses as it relates to agricultural management, as it relates to bookkeeping. We have even gotten a few of our elders and some of the ones who are not too computer literate to do basic computer courses so that we can edify ourselves and share information and keep in that vein of always learning. And being able to have proper accountable system, proper bookkeeping, proper financial management, these kind of things. What being a registered co-op has enabled us to do is to be able to link with many other agricultural groups on the island. Many of whom are not Rastafari groupings, but who are all farmers. We've been doing some looking at coconut tree planting. We want to identify some of the foods that are easy to grow, that are very beneficial to us. And coconut trees, water is the essence of life. Coconut trees and the coconut tree industry has grown very, very big in Barbados, to the point where the demand is greater than the supply. So we have the claimants now are picking coconuts that are too young. So we're trying to help by planting as much coconut trees. Perhaps we're looking at maybe 4 acres or so. We also want to use land for educational purposes, whereby we can have a working relationship with some of the schools in the area, where we can bring them to understand seasonal planting, what crops are planted when. A lot of the younger persons nowadays, they're losing this cultural knowledge. When is yam planted, how long does it stay in the crop? What time frame it takes for certain seeds to burst, These are the kind of things that we're looking to work with the schools. Herbal identification, because that particular part of our culture, Rastafari, is very strong. We are the ones who have kept the tradition of herbal medicine and herbal practices alive. So now we want to be able to point out not only to the youth, but to anyone visiting the farm, help them to identify medicine and the herbs and the usage, whether it be the root, the bark, the leaves, the seeds, and how to properly prepare them. In terms of our business and going forward, these are some of the things we want to be able to put forward. We want to be able to do craft from bamboo, agriculture again, craft from the coconut, craft from the seeds, some of the seeds that we see of some of these flowering trees that are used in jewelry and in basket making, this kind of thing. These are things that we are into and we want to expand on a bigger level. One thing that concerns me though is I think that we need to start to identify and even have a working relationship amongst ourselves through the island in terms of feedback. And we also need to be looking at what kind of crops can we your diet. I speak to things like the cassava, the sweet potato, the pumpkin, the edo. We're speaking about things like the spinach and the calorie green. You know, these are the kind of things that we need to be looking at in terms of how we keep our farm fully efficient with food that can maintain a healthy and balanced diet. That is a major concern because I find that they're messing with a lot of our seeds. A lot of our seeds that we're getting are genetically modified. A lot of them do not reproduce well. A lot of them, if you're not able to wait for your plant to dry and grow again, so you have to go into your bucket and go back to the store. So these are areas you need to look at. And collectively, what we can do, my travel through the Caribbean in terms of working with and traveling with the Caribbean Rastafari organization, we need to identify the strengths of each island as it relates to our food. For example, when you look at the rice, rice is one of the main cereals in the whole Caribbean. Even in Ghana, where we visited, but most of us don't grow rice. But we have a place like Guyana, where they grow some of the healthiest and most tasty brown rice that I have ever had the opportunity to eat. So when we're looking at collaboration amongst INI Rastafari people, we can look at which island is growing and producing kind of foods like rice and Guyana, for instance. We can look at which organization we might be able to do trade with in terms of getting, whether it be rice, whether it be spices out of Grenada, whether it be frozen ackee out of that's a big industry. We can never have enough Jamaican ackees right now, even though we have some trees here. So I, as Rastafari people, now need to look at trading and trading in food. I remember during the pandemic, I started in a registered group, and registered groups and organizations were reached out to by our government. They were giving out these packages. Remember, we were all locked off at home, except the farmers. Farmers were given privileges to travel to go to their farms, because everybody would eat. But when these care packages came out, these care packages was an embarrassment to Rastafari. You know, it showed us our weaknesses. Because when you have to sit at home, I wonder where your next meal is going to come from. And that next meal turns up with corned beef and sardines, white flour biscuits, things that are not part of our diet. Then you have no choice but to feed them to your animals or give them to a relative or a friend who would eat that kind of food. So we were happy that we were able to have some yam and some cassava, some beans and some pumpkins to share and to distribute among each other. Bearing in mind that it was never enough, but that was a wake-up call to not only for us, but I hope for many of us in the region, of the importance of growing our food and our sustainability as it relates to food. What should be our plan as Rastafari organizations going forward? First and foremost, should be the acquisition of land. I just heard the previous speaker spoke to land being taken back and taken up by tourist investments. And this is happening all over. So it is absolutely crucial for us to go after farming organizations so we can speak as a collective and have a representative as a collective, so we can approach our Ministry of Agriculture and our heads of government and see after acquisition of land. We cannot have discussions, we cannot feed ourselves, we cannot have these ongoing discussions even as it relates to the cannabis industry, which is a part of our food as well, unless we have land. You know, so we must in every area go after the acquisition of land.
ensure that we have some legal binding and some legal authority where we go about to get this land. Do not let it be a position where we have been occupying land for X amount of years. And then just like that, somebody can come and move us. We have to go, we have to leave all our utilities, all our labor, everything, and it's not easy to start over again.
Sister Sheila, we need a conclusion, please. We have come to the end.
Say that again?
You will have to conclude briefly, please. We have come to the end.
Sure, no problem. So, if you are not able to do that collectively in terms of group, remember you can start at home, your home garden, your recycle containers, even if you're living in the urban areas. You know, you can still grow your thyme and your marjoram and your small food. I see people growing sweet potatoes in these recycled sugar bags. And so much potatoes coming out of one bag. There's so much we can do. We need to have our food coming from our farms in terms of looking at our financing, in terms of our economic viability and our economic growth. Foods coming from our farms to our customers, to Rastafari businesses, the food chain, kitchen for the needy, food needs services, the care, all of that in terms of even doing our charity work and being able to make contributions within our communities and outside of our communities. I understand the balance of time. I want to give thanks for the opportunity to share our ideas in terms of farming. Remember, food first. Let the hunger fed. That's what is the main part of our food. And it is absolutely crucial that we play a major role in feeding ourselves. So give thanks, family, and give thanks to be able to make the presentation. Rastafari global. Give thanks.
Okay, greetings, brethren and sisters. So we have come to the conclusion for today of our reasoning, not the conclusion of the discussion and reasoning, right? But it's, I hope that for the last 2 days, a lot of information was partly, right? But also, it's important that we don't use this information as a talk shop, right? We need to see conclusions, we need to see reasoning continue, right? For those who weren't here yesterday, my name is Masada Montague. I'm one of the coordinator of the first International Rasta Conference in Toronto in 1982. I was also here in 1983. And I was also here in 2003, and now I'm here again. So I would like to say that it was a pleasure being here. I live in Toronto, Canada, where we do Rasta Fest and other Rasta events, right? Give thanks again for coming out, for the global reasoning, and as I said, the reasoning should continue, but it's important though that it should be not be a talk shop, because I've been to many conferences where there are talk shops, we do a lot of reasoning, but we don't continue and follow up with our discussion. I think that's very important. The other thing I also want to emphasize is that we need to pass the baton on to the young people, and I always stress that, because as elders in our own rights, we have done our part, we do our works, but the youth have to continue, right? So always find a young person to mentor so they could continue with the work, because we're all getting older and older and wiser, so we need to pass on that wisdom to the younger generation. So again, give thanks for coming out again today, right? I know the next few days I'm going forward to Toronto, and I look forward to, again, another gathering of this magnitude. So spread the word, tell everyone. For those who weren't able to make it, it's important to continue and spread the word. I'm sure it's recorded. You can post it through the various channels, social media channels and things like that. So the important thing, though the content was very good, but we need to get the message out now to the international Rastafari community, right? Which I'm part of, right? And what I want to say this is, right? You see, when you're in Jamaica, it seems like it's a very small community, but the Rastafari community is huge, very, very huge. So it's important to get the message out to the international Rastafari community. Give thanks again.
Yes. Cool. Yes, I'm millionaire. No respect to all that. I run the Ethiopian World Federation, Charter 7, Kingston 12. I study all the different bodies and groups. I study foreign affairs. And I notice only Rasta alone don't use the league as law. So I call for that. Rasta was sent to the law book of Ethiopia. Start study it and work off of it. Because no other way. I ain't that.
Eli, Celestia. Eli! Eli! How good and how pleasant it is for a come together in love and unity. It's like the precious ointment upon the head every year in Jamaica went down to the skirt of his garment. As a Jew for a man, the Jew that sat upon the mountain of Zion. Dear living I, Emperor Eli, King Selassie, has commanded blessing, evil love, and life forevermore. Blessed be the name of the living I, Eli, Selassie, and the word of mine and mouth, the meditation of my heart, it will be accepted in thy sight, O Emperor Eli, King Selassie the first. The Lord and thy strength and thy redeemer, the man who long live and reign forever and ever. Truly, I love Melchizedek, and I devices ceaseless unto the Most High. Eli, Selassie.
Lord.